more towards early game power with the Elise, but very much on the scaling side. They're waiting for those item spikes to come through. They'll be looking to roam around a lot in the early game with the Corki package, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Nuke, Duck, and Cold actually look to play towards the side lanes, maybe try and shut down this Sonatarm Kench early, but one of the biggest things they need to prevent is this LeBlanc from snowballing, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing for TSM. They have strong lanes in top and mid, early on especially, and with an Olaf, those are lanes you can definitely look to play through and try to get early advantages in.
I think both solo lane matchups look very juicy for both of these junglers, and it's going to be a lot down to Grig coming back in on the starting lineup for TSM versus Cold, who had an amazing day yesterday for Origin. Definitely.
Except the Lee Sin game. We don't remember the
Well, maybe not day. We'll just go with the
game. Yeah. But in any case, TSM will be having their rematch up against Origen. We already talked a lot about the rivalry between some of the players, and especially for Mithy against his former team in TSM. He's got a lot to prove. Already, Europe lead the series 1-0. Let's see what they can do.
One game more will put them on match point, and we'll see if Origen are able to secure that for Europe. A lot of people coming into today saying it's going to be a quick 3-0 for Europe. I think TSM are probably one of the main challengers to that, obviously alongside Team Liquid later on today. But as we jump onto the Summoner's Rift in just a second, guys, I want to know where we're looking early on. What intrigues you? What excites you? Where are you aware of? Apart from the fact that
junglers. It's got to be junglers. Not a pause, but definitely junglers. We already talked a lot in draft about how Cold will be looking to play around probably the Aatrox. It's a very strong 2 versus 2, has a lot of dive potential, especially once the Aatrox hits level 6 because of his ultimate. Once he gets the kill, he can use that to reset his life. Meanwhile, with the Olaf, when you pair it up with a LeBlanc, there's so much gank setup with the LeBlanc that you can then just run a target down with the Olaf. And in my opinion, once the Corki has Hex Drinker, this 1v1 matchup becomes a lot harder. So I would really like to see Greg try and force something in the mid lane. Try and get this LeBlanc ahead as early as possible.
And one of my personal favorite things to do with Olaf is power clear for your first clear. So Olaf is one of these champions that can clear every single small camp and get the recall off to reset before the enemy junglers really get to affect the lanes. You just have a LeBlanc play a little bit safe in the mid lane. Jace should be okay early versus Aatrox. So if you tell your laners that Elise is probably going to get off the level 3 gank, you can full clear your jungle, get to level 4 first, get your boots, and then you'll have a much quicker route to that level 6 where Olaf, once he gets his experience lead over Elise, can actually just run through this matchup. Once you have access to your ultimate, you aren't even scared of the brush camping because you can just immune the cocoon and whack her down. Right now, though, going over wards is not a good start for them.
This is really dangerous for Broken Blade and Greg. Smooth is going to join them.
No sweeper.
No sweeper. They're on a ward. Origen have 5 members strong here now. Greg's going to step towards this bush. There's the volatile Spiderling. TSM know that Origen are aware. Here's Alfari, Mithy there as well. Patrick joins the fray as they look for Grig. Forced away, doesn't have the flash running. Ghost on the Olaf, and Burst Blood goes to Origen.
Well, so much trying to get an early lead versus the Elise there, because that money is going over to Patrick in the bottom lane for Sivir. This is huge for Origen, already capitalizing on that invade.
But all of it comes off the back of that single ward on the minimap. You can see just in this corner, all of this is what allowed Origen to be able to plan and deal with that. They'd sent Patrick and Mithy up towards the top side in the event of any early game shenanigans. They read that Olaf may look for an invade, and they were able to get this flank around behind TSM and set up for the collapse.
And it's very reckless, honestly, to go for an invade like this with only a few people and no sweeper. Generally, most teams will get a sweeper on their jungler at least to go in and pop when you do go for the invade. So you know that there's a ward there, and you can even get some experience and gold off the ward. But going in blind like that, huge punish for Origen. Now this bottom lane is going to be even more safe for Patrick and Mithy. They can just throw out the poke. He's got the extra longsword to help him take down these minions.
Because our question was, could Sven and Smoothie actually survive through the damage coming out from the Origen bottom lane? But as you say, with the extra longsword, you can see Patrick and Mithy just force them back. Not really too much the TSM bot lane is going to be able to do in this lane now.
One of the things that the Sona Tahm Kench is going to struggle with is the constant poke that's going to come out from the side of Origen. And you think, well, there's a lot of sustain, but the problem is Sven wants to be using his mana to poke and harass because he's trying to build up the stacks on the item so that he can get that maxed out and he can then start farming gold. So if he's spending all of his mana on healing, which is a pretty high cost early on in the game, then he's going to be put in an awkward situation that's just going to delay completing his first item.
And it could become even more awkward because Patrick could quite easily go back, getting Executioner's Calling as his first item. He's already got the longsword for it. It makes it so difficult for that bottom lane to survive. But our eyes will turn back towards the junglers as Grig is looking towards that mid lane at the moment, seeing if he can get around Nuke Duck, just once again invading into the Origen jungle.
This is a little dangerous though, because note how quickly Nuke Duck would be able to collapse if he gets spotted out, and Cold is already pathing down towards. He's taking a slightly safer route, but a good ward there from Grig will at least spot him out.
He finishes up the Raptors just in time and is able to hit that level 4 experience lead ahead of the Elise, kind of as expected. Now you can backtrack and control the Scuttle Crabs. In the mid lane, Bjergsen using almost all of his mana pool to go super aggressive on Nuke Duck, who still has a Biscuit in inventory, so should feel safe.
Yeah, Bjergsen doing that meant that Nuke Duck couldn't rotate and help out his jungle if they went for the fight on Grig, so it does make sense. Bjergsen running the teleport in that lane as well. Has the Corrupting Potion ticking over, so we'll be a little bit of mana, but now it looks like Cold is the one invading as he's at the red buff, and instead of going for Crux, we'll just back away.
So both junglers kind of trading sides of the map right now. I'm sure Cold would have liked to secured the top Scuttle Crab, however, he wasn't given much of a choice, which means that Bjergsen and Broken Blade have a little bit more safety. Cold then moves towards the bot side to at the very least enable Patrick and Mithy to continue playing as aggressively as they are, and this deep ward onto the Krugs will also help give them information as to whether Grig will look to set up a play now that Sven has used a very early teleport to come back to the lane.
And part of the equalizing balance of the Sivir Yuumi and bottom side, well, never mind, we're going to go mid.
Nuke Duck dodging, uses the Valkyrie to try and get away. Grig will land the Undertow, but Cold is here in time. The Cocoon lands, but this is just Cold dissuading Grig from going any further in that lane.
This is the gank that we wanted to see from Grig, though, and it was exactly how you set it up, Kobe. He did a fast clear, he was even able to steal away the Raptors, he got that early level 4, and then he walked mid immediately. Even though the wave was not pushing in their favor, because of the mobility from the LeBlanc, they were able to force Nuke Duck back. And now he's in a situation where he had to spend his TP early, so he can't go back, buy the Hex Drinker, then suddenly come back into the lane and make Bjergsen's life that much harder.
Yeah, from this point on, the Olaf should be able to keep this CS lead that you see in the jungle over Elise. Should be able to take down Krugs and look to have another bit of influence on the map. But look at these wards already from Origen. As you can see all the way across the map, they're trying to light up the river to keep track of the Olaf's whereabouts. And there's even one on those Krugs. So as long as they can keep that tracker for themselves, they should be okay. This Sivir Yuumi constantly throwing out poke. Not only are they getting the CS lead, but also the turret plate money helps balance out the money that Sona gets from the Klepto, from the Spell Thieves procs, and keep it a lot more in their favor.
Overall, about an 800 gold lead for Origen as they do start to pick up some of those plates. You can see that bottom lane disparity add up with Sona and the Tahm Kench, and you get about 3,500 goals to about 4,100 as Sven almost goes down. Wasn't expecting him to go that low, but he will back away. Doesn't have the teleport, so this will be more plates going over to Origen.
And again, some of that money, yes, is from the first blood off the level 1 and some of the extra power, but that's generally the game plan of the matchup anyway.
And I just love how aggressively Origen are playing this duo. Cold very quick to utilize that pressure to secure himself the early Drake, and then Corki going to make his way down too. Again, both junglers just continuing to trade sides of the map right now, and Broken Blade feeling very comfortable in this 1v1 at the very least. We haven't talked much about the matchup, but he's been generating a lot of pressure, and Alfari knows that his jungler has not been allowed to play around him. So when we talked about in champions like Cold may look to set up early dives top, so far that hasn't really been the case. And he's just doing what he can to survive what can be a very difficult 1 versus 1.
Cold does have the option to maybe look down towards this bottom lane for a tower dive now, though. You've got almost level 6 on Patrick and on Mithy. Cold's ticking up towards that as well. But Grig has decided top lane is the place to gank. Alfari trying to get away from this. Pops the World Ender. Cold is on his way as well, but Alfari already so low. Ragnarok used by the Olaf to try and get in towards Alfari, but that tick is not quite enough damage and Alfari escape.
Oh, I thought the Airy was going to be the last little bit of damage he needed, but not quite enough. Alfari able to start chucking his potion early and does survive it. Definitely a close one, and well played for him to get out of it.
Like the pathing that we saw from Greg, they kind of lit up a lot of the topside river, which meant that he could just slowly seep his way through and dodge a lot of the wards. And it was a little too late before Alfari noticed, and he was forced to burn a summoner spell. If Cold was not pathing that way, then there's a very high likelihood of him losing his life. But fortunately, the jungler was there. TSM couldn't continue the dive, and so for now, no kills on the board for TSM.
Yeah, bottom side, the work is almost done for Patrick and Mithy here, as they've taken 90% of this turret almost.
And what I'd love to see from Origen now is actually get Cold to level 6 and bring him bot. Utilize Nukeduck and Cold to force Smoothie and Sven away from this tower so that they can swap towards the top side and start playing for Rift Herald. Because with that objective secured, they can actually maintain control over this early game, which is ultimately, remember, what TSM wanted to try and get with the LeBlanc and with the Jace early game.
Even with that tier, Sven is running out of mana pretty rapidly down towards this bottom lane. Patrick and Mithy continue just to push it in. Of course, Rift Herald's still about a minute away from spawning Vedia, so Origen have a little bit of time if they want to play to it, but they continue just to have wards in the right spots, littering this TSM jungle with vision. Patrick there to get away from Smoothie and Greg, who went in with the Abyssal Void, but unable to find any connection.
Yeah, and once again, they're on a ward from Origen while they're sitting there prepping that play. Not a huge amount of threat. You can see Patrick and Mithy not too scared. They do pop the Sivir ultimate in answer, though, just in case, so nobody does get caught. But it's just a matter of time here before that does go down.
And when I wanted to see both the jungler and mid look for a roam bot, they actually looked for a roam top. And the reason for that was because Alfari had stacked up this massive wave. And as you said, Medic, the Rift Herald is spawning in another minute's time. So there's plenty of time. Ooh, as Sven goes in.
Crescendo used, Patrick very low, but the heal from the Zoomies. Flash in by Smoothie, there's the final chapter. Devour has been used. Patrick's still alive, the Zoomies keeping him up now, but there goes the kill. TSM secure it, Mithy going He flashes away, Smoothie looking for the stun. Mithy gets the kill on his former teammate. A little bit of a wry smile from him, I'm sure. Smoothie looking for the tongue lash, gets it. Nukeduck on his way down as well. Smoothie can't quite connect with the devoured minion. Nukeduck here to save his support.
Really nice all-in from the TSM bottom lane, but Mithy gets the last laugh on Sven with the ignite at the end there. Let's take another look. They wanted to finish the tower, so Sven takes that opportunity for the double ultimate. Smoothie flashes in, gets the last hit there for the Devour, and they do get the first kill, but they underestimate the burst with Ignite and Q coming out. Sven even flashing after Ignite is already on him, and there is no mana left for him to heal with, so he flashes, still goes down. That's actually quite good for Origen as they also get the Summoner out. And then the roam from Nukeduck, of course, meant there was no follow-up kill, but topside.
TSM going topside as Bjergsen jumps in onto Alfari. Rogueblade tanking the tower, the chains will connect. And Bjergsen gets the kill. TSM playing on the other side of the map and finding some results.
So TSM finally find themselves a bit of an early game edge, but unfortunately Origen are continuing to keep up the pressure. They secured the pot tower, they rotated Patrick to mid rather than up towards the top side of the map to try and maximize the farm, make sure that everyone is including these resources. But also in that bot 2 versus 2, we got to see some of the strength that Tahm Kench brings in this setup. And with a really good ultimate from Sven, I was surprised by how much damage the Tahm Kench actually brought to the table. So a little unfortunate there for TSM in the bot lane that they weren't able to walk away with their lives. But they do find a couple kills. Now they currently sit at about a 1,000 gold deficit.
Really good for TSM that Bjergsen got that kill as well. We talked about how you want to get the LeBlanc ahead so she can find picks around Vision in the mid game. A little bit behind on CS, about 25 down, but getting that kill means that you can start building up towards that first completed item.
And again, continuing to take down turret plates. The Yuumi Sivir here annihilates the minion wave. More damage onto the tower. Smoothie looking to answer, but they've come through some vision in their own jungle. Deep wards by Origen, once again, cut off a play.
We can also see Cold resetting on the map right now. You would imagine that Rift Herald would be the next primary objective. However, Ocean Drake has just spawned. But given that Patrick and Mithy were sent up towards the top side of the map, I'd be surprised if Origen wanted to try and force that. And I think that it's overall better if they can get the Rift Herald so they get more plates onto Corki so that he can quicker complete his stream force. Because notice, he's actually not going for the early Hex Drink. He's already picked up the Phage, and he wants to try and get to that early item spike as quickly as he can.
Looks like Grig's going to play around the Rift Herald, though, as they know they have a strong side of the map. Bjergsen pathing up towards that. A lot of vision for TSM in that river as well. So they're pretty aware. Final chapter coming out here onto Sven. The crescendo comes out as well. Now Origen coming in with the TP. Grig there to help out his team. If he's going to jump back, Nuke Duck unable to find a connection. Dragging us down towards the bottom side. The Rift Herald still aggroed, hit by TSM. Bjergsen's joined the fight as TSM retreat back towards their own jungle.
And that was just a massive misplay coming out from Sven. TSM had pressure in top and in mid, but because he gets caught out, he forces Bjergsen to rotate up to just try and save him. And then Nukeduck with the TP actually ends up creating this skirmish situation where the Rift Herald and the bot Drake are not being started at the same time, but now Patrick getting collapsed off.
They'll shield, but Bjergsen is there with the TP. Patrick can do nothing against it. TSM find their third kill.
Yeah, a little bit more threat behind the LeBlanc teleporting in there. They're able to take down Patrick. Mid lane, though, Nuke Duck answers back. If they get 2 turret plates, that's a similar amount of gold. TSM collapsing, though, from both sides.
Broken blade from the bottom side. Ragnarok used. Cold low already. Mithy caught out down towards the bottom side. TP coming in. Origen trying to survive, but Mithy's already done. Alfari now in the midst of TSM has to just dodge away with the Umbral dash. And Origen retreat back to their tower.
Origen now with some very big mistakes overextending in the top side and staying a little too long to try and secure this mid tier 1 means that TSM find themselves 2 quick kills and they're continuing to close this gold gap. This is really important for the LeBlanc and the Jace so they can maintain pressure on the side lanes, and the fact that LeBlanc is the one that's now sitting at 2-0-0 should definitely give a lot more hope for TSM.
Yeah, the power spikes in this game are so much on the levels and on the item completion. So yes, keeping track of the gold is an indicator of that. Bjergsen's almost level 11, just completed the Luden's Echo. That is where LeBlanc is at the scariest. In this mid game, when you have that huge spike on your level 2 for your ultimate and your completed Luden's Echo, the burst damage is where all of the map control has to come from. Really good exchange there, though, from Nukeduck. You just saw why Corki is often taken. With the counter there, does get a decent chunk back, just standing tall with the Yuumi there.
Yeah, having a little bit of assistance from Mithy, of course, in that mid lane. Cold coming up towards mid as well, as this tower is short to follow. Plates have fallen, so Origen won't get any extra gold from it, but they break that mid lane turret. And now you have to expect them to go a little bit deeper into the TSM jungle, set down some deep vision once again, and just try and keep track of TSM as they go for these rotations.
I want to see Origen try and force a play to secure this Rift Herald, because with it, they can actually threaten these tier 2 towers. But TSM are actually posturing to try and challenge for it for the time being.
And right now, they do have Cold on the bottom half, getting the bottom scuttler. So they have to have a little bit of extra threat here towards Broken Blade. He does have his own control ward. Very much necessary. If the Elise goes bottom, that would be devastating for them, cutting him off.
I think the reason why they sent Cold bot was actually because Alfari used his teleport.
Oh, Mithy's caught out here by Bjergsen. Just about gets away to Patrick, but that has to be the Rift Herald going across the TSM, you must think.
So we were just talking about how the jungler was towards the bot side of the map. That's the window that TSM used to force this objective, and now they're 4 versus 2. And it looks like Origen can't contest.
They're roaming.
They're coming up, Origen, 5 men strong. Looking for the fight here around the Rift Herald. Teleport coming in from TSM, but is that too late? Broken Blade's going to join the fighters. There's a full 5v5 in the river. Rift Herald down to 1,000 HP. Bjergsen jumping forward, jumps back onto the back line. Now TSM standing tall with the smite comes down from Cold. Secures the Rift Herald. Don't even think he actually used the summoner spell there. TSM retreat. They can't get anything out of this.
And Alfari walks in and takes it. Yeah, we need the replay to see what actually took it. Cold did get credit for the kill on the Rift Herald in Origen.
Oh, Bjergsen jumps in, but Mithy able to get out in time. That is the burst potential from that LeBlanc in the mid lane.
Whew, so many things happening in the setup to all of that. Origen do what they can to steal it away, but nobody ends up dying. Kobe, you were talking about these item spikes, the Luden's Echo being done for Bjergsen. We thought this would be the moment for TSM to fight, but they just can't get the collapse down onto Origen. And now they're looking to secure themselves the final outer tower.
Back-to-back objectives here picked up by Origen in the 5-on-5 stand-up around Rift Herald. They get the damage. Let's see. Spiderling already used. What is it actually going to come from? TSM burning it down. You see, Bjergsen does go in for an attempted combo, but backs right off because they want to focus on the objective. Cold walks up. It is a smite.
Oh, it's smite, yeah.
He's able to get it. He just smites that one, and then they push him off with the extra harassment here. Rockets continually coming through from Nukeduck. and Origen walk away. They also got the top tower after that, so it was back-to-back objectives.
I feel like Origen have just played this map beautifully within the first 15 minutes of the game. They utilized the pressure that they had bought, and they've moved around the map very cleanly. We've seen a couple of overextends, which TSM were very quick to punish, but I love the fact that Cold went bot because Alfari didn't have teleport to allow him to roam up. So in the event that Broken Blade with TP, ooh, another fight.
Rick going in, the teleport comes in from TSM as well. All of Origen on their way down towards this bottom side. Abyssal Voyage used as well. There's the final chapter, catches out 3, and now Sven is in for a world of hurt. Alfari turns onto him. The World Ender coming in the flash forward. TSM running for the hills, but the chase is on from Origen. It's a double for Alfari, and he's not done yet. Continues to pound down onto Smoothie, looking for Bjergsen as well, but Smoothie pots the thick skin. Cocoon doesn't land. Bjergsen pulled in with a chains. Cold gets the kill onto Smoothie, and that's 3-0 in favor of Origen.
Oh, that's going to leave a mark. TSM try to go for the all-in. They cannot burst down Elise because Elise has repel. They then turn their sights towards Alfari to try and get the kill before the rest of the team gets there. And Sven flashes in on the Sona, but there isn't any follow-up behind the Sona. So he ends up dying and giving the reset on the Aatrox ultimate. That means Origen free lane to push on bottom. They get the Rift Herald activation. They're also taking Dragon at the same time.
Third Dragon of the game for Origen. A 5,000 gold lead. Snowballed in the last couple of minutes. You have to deal with Double Mountain and the Ocean, and a minute and a half on the Baron. Origen can just set up vision towards that top side and look for the next objective.
Beautiful stuff from the side of Origen. Let's have another look at how this replay comes about. You can see that all 5 members on both teams are grouped up, and it actually starts towards the bot lane. And you can see how they want to try and burst Alfari down, flash in from Sven into the ultimate, but the follow-up isn't there because of the zoning away from the unit.
Exactly. Bjergsen, the LeBlanc, the one with the burst damage to actually make that play happen, was still walking behind the Dragon Pit. Not everybody from TSM was there. That was a second of Discord that cost them the entire fight. They don't have everyone there in time, and you need that precision to make that play work.
And I think the idea was good, but the execution just faltered. And I feel like this is something we've seen a couple times from TSM so far this season, and something that has plagued them in the summer split. They still have opportunities to come back. They still have a lot of poke power in their composition, and Sona will only continue to scale and be a very prevalent teamfight force. But it's a matter of, can TSM even handle the pressure that is coming out from Origen as they control every wave of the map right now?
5 men strong, Origen pushing in top here. You can see Nukeduck actually backing away, has the TP if he wants to defend that bot lane tower where Bjergsen is. Trying to get some farm onto that LeBlanc in a side lane, get him towards his second item. TSM need Bjergsen to have a carry performance for the rest of this game if they are to get anywhere close to winning. But with 20 minutes on the clock, Origen in a commanding position.
Yeah, they've also got double Mountain Drakes and an Ocean Drake. Pretty much the perfect set of dragons to take a Baron.
And caught out with the Flash Cocoon, the final chapter coming out as well, and the root will land. But the chase is not quite enough. Patrick not there in time. Sven able to escape.
Woo, just barely there. Sona using everything he's got to get out and try and heal back up now. But again, Origen pushing down mid lane. Bjergsen goes for it.
Those chains will chase him. Cold is dead, and that's what you can do with the LeBlanc. If Bjergsen is able to find these picks, TSM are well in this game.
And while Origen are pushing both top and bot, they can't get any other objectives off the back of this. So TSM, they'll actually buy themselves some time. Origen can't now threaten the Baron because they've just lost their jungler, which means TSM can use this opportunity to scale up a little bit more, clear out some of the vision in their half of the jungle, and just delay Origen from looking to siege with the Baron buff.
Abyssal Voyage is available here. TSM might look for the chase onto Nukeduck. Side against it. Nukeduck able to get away.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom lane play was very costly for TSM because they didn't have the damage in position, but Bjergsen is still what they're looking to utilize here. He has to get himself into these positions where he can go for the super aggressive burst combinations. Luckily for them, Origen do not have a point-and-click hard CC to stop this LeBlanc. The only closest thing would be the Elise Cocoon, and that is a skill shot that Cold will have to hit. Other than that, TSM are hoping for Bjergsen to use Fog of War, use some control wards to get him area to look for burst combinations on these squishy targets.
The thing I'm concerned right now for Bjergsen is, can he even burst the likes of a Nukeduck down right now, who's level 14, has 2 items completed, no Hex Drinker, but with his mobility, it's going to be extremely difficult for Bjergsen to find that pick, and they're going to need multiple members, which is why they even have 2 people sitting in this brush right now to even threaten a kill onto Nukta.
I think Origen, with the control they have over this game, should just establish themselves around Baron. Double Mountain and Ocean Drake has so much threat here, especially since they have Yuumi for healing, and they're doing just that. Smoothie gonna walk in.
Cocoon straight onto him, but he uses the QSS to get away, and now perhaps Bjergsen can turn this around. He's on the flank. Could look to jump in. TSM able just to get away with that QSS burn.
Origen could just reset here. Alfari does have teleport. They've called him up actually to the lane and to Baron, so they're gonna hard force.
Origen going for the Baron, 8,000 HP on it. The Spiderling is going to tank it for just a second more. Grig takes a little bit of a chunk across the wall, but for now, Origen just reset. They could just wait this one out. TSM have no vision. Origen have an Ocean Drake to help sustain them. Alfari caught out with a Shock Blast, but it's not going to do too much damage as Broken Blade has now joined with the rest of TSM.
Origen want to make sure that they're keeping the waves pressured towards TSM, so they're the ones forced into making an awkward decision. But notice how the Sivir has been sent up top to try and keep that wave pushed in, so Origen is kind of forced onto wave duty. Now this is the gamble that TSM have to take. Do they walk into the river to try and clear out vision at the risk of getting collapsed on, or they just move further back in towards their base and just be happy that they bought a little bit more time?
What's happening now is a trade of objectives. The objective of taking this vision around Baron for TSM, they moved in S5. That is in trade for the Dragon. Dragon spawning now, that will go over to Origen if they have complete control of the bottom half of the map, and Cold should be able to solo an Ocean number 2. Now, one of the things that was stopping them from just forcing on the Baron was nobody really had armor to tank the Baron, and even with one Ocean Drake, it was a little bit risky with the extra damage. With two, maybe they actually do force it.
I think, as you rightly said, Origen is just super squishy, and you can't rely on Spiderlings like you can in the jungle. Baron doesn't really care about those. They're about as effective at tanking Baron as they are in TFT. And there was also
Hey, they got their health doubled in TFT.
Oh, did they? They being buffed?
But Origen also had a wave pushing up top. So that's why TSM couldn't start it either, because if they did, and it doesn't go the way they want, the potential for Origen to TP flank in towards top and threaten that inhibitor was very real. So they needed to reset, and they were just happy with control over this objective, and now the battle will come for control around the Baron. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of ebb and flow, and we need to keep our eyes on actually where the top laners are. How much are they moving to group up with their team and sacrifice the farm on the side lane, and how much pressure are they actually generating, given that note that the tier 1 tower on the bot lane is still up for Origen.
And if we look at how the team fights are going to play out in this critical fight around Baron, every member of TSM has to be so careful not to give that kill over for the reset for Aatrox. So it's going to be so difficult. Every single member has to worry about their life pools and save their defensive cooldowns for escaping. Because if one person falls, the Sivir boosted Aatrox just runs over the team right now. There's so much damage behind him with the Sivir, and oh, never mind, going in.
Traps are used in the mid lane. Crescendo comes out as well. Smoothie able to use that QSS once again to get rid of the Cocoon stun. Really only a QSS. Sven actually burned his flash there as well, so he was caught out at the start of it. That's a big summoner down.
Yeah, that's one of those big defensive cooldowns that they will not have available for the team fight. Origen slowly working away.
I think the big thing for Origen as well is if you look at the inventories of TSM, they only have 2 control wards and they're both sitting on Smoothie. Origen have just placed one and have a couple more in their inventories, which makes it so much easier to gain river control. Now, Grig is coming up towards the top side. Going to use the Ghost to get away because the rest of Origen were on the chase. They actually have a great flank position here. Bjergsen jumping forward, has the Banshees, but Cocoon's going to land on the Grig. Pops the Ragnarok, flash forward from Patrick, looking for the autos. Click, click, boom from Patrick as he gets the kill on Grig. And now Origen can just turn back around towards the Baron.
Massive pick onto the jungler of TSM. Origen utilizing the control they have over the river and punishing the fact that Grig kept trying to attack the side lane to now work towards the Baron and secure this objective once and for all.
Yeah, I think this should be it. They're just going to burn that one down. Origen with Baron buff are going to come for the TSM base.
And at 26 minutes, Origen finally get the Baron after a lot of ebb and flow around it. Those Mountain Drakes helping out a lot. Broken Blade will answer with a tower in the bottom lane, but it's small consolation you have to feel for TSM because pretty soon their base is going to be under fire.
It feels to me like so far this game, Origen have just overall played the map better. They've done a great job of utilizing where they have pressure. They've brought members up and sacrificed side lanes in order to have numbers advantage. And note how only now have TSM secured their first tower of the game. And that just goes to show how much control Origen have had in terms of the entire map. even though TSM have found picks and have made plays and have punished some of the overextensions, it's very similar to what we saw in our game 1 of the day, where while TSM and Cloud9 have found kills, they can very rarely convert it into objectives because of what the European teams are doing elsewhere on the map.
And now we'll see Origen just setting up for this push. 1-4 probably, could be a 1-3-1 as well. You have enough teleports and you've got Corki and Aatrox who can just go into those side lanes. TSM trying to set up a play down here as Broken Blade and Bjergsen have snuck in here with no vision. Patrick is the one to step forward. Mithy's on him. Cold is there as well. You have to feel you just go for the burst here. TSM waiting in the wings. The Abyssal Voyage coming out as well. They're trying to kill Patrick. The final jab to use. Patrick's still alive in the back of this. Now he'll fall. Greg gets it. But Broken Blade so low, taken down up towards the top side of the fight. You can see Grig's going to go down as Nukeduck gets it. Broken Blade's still alive. It's a 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane.
With very few options, that is so big for TSM. They cut out the Sivir from the middle of the team composition here. Teleport from Nukeduck is huge, though. With the Baron buff, he takes down the mid lane inhibitor turret, and the inhibitor soon to follow.
The ability to open up the map, take down that inhib with the TP from Nukeduck. Good call from him after the back of that fight. Look at the damage onto Sven as well. Bot lane inhibits tower, now the target. Albari and Cold will back away because Bjergsen's on the chase. Repel used by Cold just to get away from that fight, but for now, TSM still just have to back away and defend this inhibitor tower. Albari getting chased in, TSM maybe going forward, but the minions are now on their base. Nukeduck keeping that Baron buff alive on them, and TSM have to defend.
Yeah, Origen trying to buff up 3 lanes of minions right now. They had a teleport from Patrick after reviving to the top side, so they get bottom inhibitor turret, and Patrick already has the minions at the top side.
You can see the crits coming out with that Infinity Edge on the Corki. Sven takes one shot and almost goes down. Now the teleport coming in from TSM.
Bjergsen doing what he can to find a flank. If they get the kill onto Cold,
Oh, he misses the chains off towards the side. The Cocoon does connect and Cold's going to jump forward. Up towards the top side, the inhibitor's going to fall. Bjergsen's still alive, looking for the damage onto Cold, but the rest of Origen are just looking for the base. Albari turns it down in the bottom lane as Broken Blade almost falls. Bjergsen gets the kill on Cold, but the rest of Origen are on the Nexus towers, trying to keep Grig from getting back to the fountain, but he will escape. Albari's popped the world ender, but the Nexus is in Origen's sights. Bjergsen has to do something miraculous here to stop it, but TSM can't defend, and Origen make it 2-0 for Europe.
I loved what TSM tried to do at the very end of the game. They attacked the one wave where Origen had not set up yet. They knew that Origen would be coming, and if they find a couple kills and remove the Baron, then they can stall. They can wait for another opportunity. They end up trading 1-for-1, but again, the quick thinking coming out from Nukeduck to TP mid with the Yuumi. They utilize the Baron and they break into the base anyway. And while the strat looked promising for TSM, unfortunately, it only buys them a very small amount of time before the Sivir then TPs back in, and now they're just being split up inside their own base.
Yeah, Origen did a really good job keeping up that pressure the entire game. The Yuumi Sivir on the bottom side, just completely wearing away at that turret the entire time. Being so many turret plates for them, and they're able to transition it so well. I think the lack of coordination in the split-second play on the bottom half of the map might have been one of the biggest turning points there, where TSM, half of them tried to go for the all